changing the world by transforming companies from the inside. This is a revolution that many people in every company, in every country are ready to start. And these people, they're called intrapreneurs, of course. And I know them very well. First, because I have been an intrapreneur. A few months ago, I was hired by a major French company. My mission was to transform a wild idea that my boss has had into a business reality. And it was amazing. Rapidly, I kind of had my own startup within the big group. And what was unique about that was the energy of the people who were working with me on that project. Basically, there were people calling me and telling me, Soraya, my boss is out for 2 hours. Come to my office, I want to help. And this was a unique energy. That was so warm and so that was crazy, really. And at some point, after a few months of work, I had the opportunity to pitch this startup in front of the board of directors of the company I was working for. I was so excited about it. And actually, it happened to be a big fail. Creating my startup, I did not respect the usual process of a project creation within a big company. And that, they were not ready to accept it. And so they basically told me that my project did not even deserve to be tested. After that disappointment, they offered me great job opportunities, and I was really thankful about it, but I decided to quit. I decided to quit because, you know, the message they were sending to me was, I believe they were sending to me, was that making differently within a big company was not possible. And for me, that was just, like, not acceptable, really. You know, like, I have this dream about a company, like, I think it's a dream that I share with a lot of people, that is held by more and more people, especially people from the Generation Y, which is a dream of a company, which is a place where you can learn, where you can places like companies should be places that are enablers, that empower us, that make us feel that we can create and we can express our full potential. So obviously, this ideal I had with the message I believe they were sending me, it was like a complete clash. So I decided to leave the company, and I have created the Intrapreneurship Tour. The Intrapreneurship Tour is the first intrapreneurship world tour. So basically, I went with my backpack during 5 months, and I traveled the world. I went to Brazil, to the States, to the Netherlands, etc. And I met 50 intrapreneurs. During this tour, like now I have my website where you find articles and testimonies about intrapreneurs. But the main goal of this tour was not this website. The idea was really to figure out what are the enablers, the enabling environment for intrapreneurs to thrive within big companies. That was my question. I am back, as you can see from that tour. I wish I was in Brazil, but I'm here. I'm really happy to be here. So I'm here, and I'm back with 3 convictions. My first conviction is that intrapreneurship drives employees' fulfillment. This is Christelle. Christelle, 6 years ago, she was working in a group called Happy Chic, which is a big French group. It sells clothes for men like Jules or Brice. And so Christelle, basically 6 years ago, she wanted to leave her company. she was wondering why she was doing, although she had a really good career, but she was wondering why she was doing her job, what was the impact of her company on the world, and she was just feeling very uncomfortable with her job, so she wanted to leave. And before leaving, her boss offered her to start a new entrepreneurial program, and she accepted, thinking that she had nothing to lose anymore. And that worked out as a real revelation. Such a powerful revelation that 6 years after, nowadays, Christelle is still working for Happy Chic. She is leading the brand that she has created during her entrepreneurial program, which is called La Gentle Factory. It's a brand that is completely fits with the values of Christelle, because it is an eco-friendly brand. It is a brand that is still owned by Happy Chic and which is making 3 million euros of turnover per year. So entrepreneurship helps you retain your best talents. My second conviction is that entrepreneurship drives innovation. This is Nick. When I met him, he was in London, but actually when he was an entrepreneur, he used to work in Kenya. He was working for Vodafone, and he was working for corporate social responsibility and sustainable development service, so in Vodafone. And Nick, at some point, he realized that only 20% of the Kenyans had access to banking services. He also realized that 60% of them had a mobile phone. So he invented the first banking, in order to transfer cash, Kenyans, they had to just send cash through mailing. And so he decided to innovate, and he created the first banking services through mobile of Vodafone. So, thanks to this service, Kenyan people can transfer cash through their mobile phone. Nick, was not working for marketing development. He was not working for innovation. He was not working for R&D. He was working for the CSR service. But he was so close to his market. He was listening to his customers. So he's been able to create a true innovation that has changed forever the positioning of Vodafone in developing countries, but also the life of millions of Kenyans. Today, out of 17 million Kenyans, out of 19 millions, are using the services of cash transfer through mobile of Vodafone. So entrepreneurship drives innovation. My third conviction is that entrepreneurship drives impact. This is Miriam. I met her in London, and she, a few years ago, she was a junior. She was working for Interface, which is a carpet manufacturer, and she was a junior. Basically, she had no power, nor influence. She was just like an intern, basically, in her company. You know no one. You don't know what you're doing here, but you're here anyway. So you're starting in a company, and without being asked to do so, she created a new value chain for the carpets of Interface, a new value chain that would enable the carpets to be fair traded. And so she went to her boss at some point with this new value chain saying, hey, I've studied that, what do you think about it? And he accepted, he chose to trust her. And together they launched the first carpet fair traded of Interface. It has been a massive business success. Such a success that today the goal of Interface is to turn all their carpets into fair-traded carpets based on the value chain created by Miriam. So entrepreneurship is a driver for impact. So entrepreneurship employees' fulfillment, innovation, impact. These are my convictions. I also come back with one observation. Entrepreneurs today are very, very isolated. 40% of the people I've met during my tour are that close to burnout. Really? They're like really isolated in their company. They're isolated by the people who see them as threats, who do not really understand what they're doing or why they're doing it. And when I'm saying the people, it's like people, their colleagues at the same level, but also their boss. And at every level, they're just not understood. And that is a bit harsh for them. That said, I think we can work this out. We can structure entrepreneurship. We can make entrepreneurs' journey. We can facilitate their journey. We can do it, and I'm so sure about it that I'm now building my own company driven by the dream that one day we will have the 10%. We will have 10% of entrepreneurs in every single company. And to achieve this goal, I believe we need to create safe spaces for entrepreneurs within our big companies, for entrepreneurs to create, to express themselves, to collaborate, and to fail. Then we need to educate. In order to give birth to 10% of entrepreneurs, we need to educate the 90% other of our employees to say, how can I help? How can I support? Thank you very much. It's been a pleasure to pitch in front of you.